when I was in college, there was all of this, there was a lot of interest in brain waves. And there was these things they called biofeedback things that you could put on your head. You had to buy something you could buy. And you could put it on your head. And what you could do is it would give you information about what kind of brain waves you had going on. And the whole point was to try and achieve a meditative state. So what are we talking about? It ends up, all of this activity in your brain, it can be measured as electrical. It isn't electrical, of course. We know it's just movement of ions, but you can detect it with electrodes. And so what they do is, depending on how rapid your brain is moving, you have delta, theta, alpha, and beta waves from lowest activity to greatest activity. And I don't really know why they put them sort of out of order, but they did. So when you are thinking hard, you're concentrating and paying attention, trying to, I got to do good on this test, that's beta waves, okay? So when you are really active and stimulated, your brain you have a very rapid brain, so it's 14 to 30 hertz would be beta waves, and then as we go down below that, it's alpha, theta, and delta. So beta waves, active thinking. Alpha, we'd said, oh, it's active, but not as active as that beta wave. That's the 9 to 13 hertz category. I will not ask you those numbers. This is where you're awake, but you're resting and you're feeling good, and your mind is just thinking over stuff. That's alpha waves. Then a little bit lower, but not all the way to sleep, you have the theta waves, and this can be connected with anything from emotional stress, brain disorders, or meditation. Yeah. And so this is what that biofeedback system was trying and meditate, but it's kind of hard to do. And they'd give you information somehow to let you know when you got it right. So when you get to the very relaxing meditative state, which are these theta waves, it would beep or something. I don't know. I never owned one, so I don't know how it works, but I knew of it. And then you have the delta waves. This is the slowest waves at sleep. So when you're asleep, this is when your brain is operating sort of at its slowest rate. Okay. Do you ever wonder about that sleep? We spend a third of our life doing that. A third of our life. And yet, what is it? Well, I can tell you what it is. It is a coma-like state. Physiologically, it's the same thing as a coma, except you can be aroused from it. So it's a coma-like state that you can be aroused from. And you pass through it in a series of stages. So you have stage 1 sleep is where you're still kind of aware of what's going on around you. Stage 2 sleep, you're getting a little bit deeper. Stage 3 sleep, you're pretty well asleep. Stage 4, you are really asleep. And if you get woken up at this point, you're like, you're kind of out of it, right? If you get woken up from stage 4. Now, what comes after 4? Something called paradoxical sleep, or REM sleep. And it gets its name because people, when they're in REM sleep, I'm going to close my eyes and you watch them. Their eyes are closed, but their eyes are wiggling all over the place. Rapid eye movement. REM stands for rapid eye movement. And it's when you are dreaming. It is the dream state. Now, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, REM sleep. Then you go 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 2, 3, 4, REM sleep, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, REM sleep. And you do this about 4 times during a night. And during the REM sleep, what happens is your body is paralyzed except for your wiggly eyes. And the reason for that is so you don't go running around while you are having your dreams. So we have this thing called sleep paralysis during the REM period of time. And then while you're asleep, there are some stereotyped postures that go along with sleep, such as these. And notice I say, sleep is the last great mystery. We really don't know why you do it. It ends up, they've done sleep studies to try and figure this out. And one of the thoughts is that it's for consolidating memories, recharging your brain metabolically. You know, your brain's very active, so it gives it a chance to, recover, reorganizing data, etc. It ends up, they have done sleep studies where they get college students or anybody else who will allow them to monitor their sleep and pay them money, because who would let you do that otherwise? And what they would say is, in one of the kinds of studies that they've attempted, they say, all you have to do is every time you enter into REM sleep, we're going to wake you up. And then you can go back to sleep. And it doesn't matter how much money they offer people, no one will do it. After you start it, you can't stand it. It's so disturbing to not go through REM sleep that psychologically you just will not tolerate it. And so sleep is really important. And another study they say, okay, you can sit on the sofa and watch TV and eat crackers, whatever, as long as you want, but we just won't let you go to sleep. You can rest, and you don't have to lift a finger, and no way. Nobody will do that. Sleep is that important. But we don't really know exactly what it does, but we do have some ideas now. Why? Because we know what happens if you don't sleep. If you are sleep deprived, you have a much higher risk of heart attack or stroke or psychosis, mental illness. Your immune system can be depressed to the point that you can die. And so it plays a critical role in life. And we really don't understand it yet. And that's remarkable to me, that we have something that basic to life that we don't understand. But it's true. Okay, but we do know that it probably does play a role in consolidation of memory. Remember, we had said that's short-term memory becoming something you remember forever. All right, we only have one more slide. I'm just going to pop on down to that one. No, we have 2 more slides. And the last one's a doozy. Okay, well, anyway, cognition. Cognition is another fancy word for acquiring and using knowledge, and it involves various parts of your brains, that kind of thing. So we have association regions. So we had said if you have damage to various parts of your brain, you can have really weird effects, and that's how we know what the brain does, right? So there's something called the contralateral neglect syndrome. And basically that comes from a lesion to the parietal lobe, and it's where people will, if you have a right side damage, a person will neglect the left side of their body. They'll say, that isn't me. So they'll only shave the right side of their face, and they'll say, well, that guy over there, he's a mess. Look at that guy. Denying that the other side of your body is you. And that comes from parietal lobe lesions. Temporal lobe lesions. Agnosia, this is the inability to identify familiar things, or I can't say that one. Prosopagnosia. This is an inability to see faces, to understand faces. Frontal lobe, profound personality disorders. Hippocampus, we've said, what does it do? Forms new memories. All right, so we have this one last slide. It's the cranial nerves. You have 12 pair of cranial nerves, and you have to know them. You have to know what they do, and you have to know what they are. And so there's this saying, old Opie occasionally tries trigonometry and feels very gloomy, vague, and hypoactive. What a ridiculous saying, but it might help you. It might help you learn the cranial nerves. You need to know. You have to know. You will see test questions on what do the various cranial nerves do. So we have a list of them there. That's just something you're going to have to memorize. All right, that's all for now. And by the way, I've already told the Monday group, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next week, not this week, next week, we'll have exam 1 in lab. Okay, so this is the last lecture for the exam 1. All right, kiddos, I'll be seeing the rest of you Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, talk to you later.